Hey y'all, Ramdino here, coming at you from blue skies in North Carolina. Well, we have rolled over from 2019 to 2020, and the hiker season is fast approaching. Thru hiker season has actually already gotten started. We got a few folks out there on the trail, and hopefully you've been keeping up with some of my updates and going and supporting those folks. But I have decided that I've gone through some gear, and I am changing out some of my gear for 2020. Now, some of that is a result of Christmas time. Santa was good to Ramdino, and as always has happened throughout my adult life, whenever I get passionate about something, that's typically what my Christmas is about. So when I was racing stock 4, I got a bunch of racing stuff. When I was beekeeping, I got a bunch of beekeeping stuff. Well, I'm passionate about the Appalachian Trail and hiking in general, and so I got a bunch of hiking stuff. So I'm excited to share that with you and find out what that is and what I'm going to be using in 2020. Stick around. All right, folks, so we'll go ahead and go through the rundown of what I'm changing out. We won't do the weights right now. We'll talk about the weights at the end of the video so you can see the differences. I don't have all that memorized or anything, so we'll talk about that later. But I am changing out several significant portions of my big 3, so let's go ahead and just jump into it. First thing I'm changing out is my pack. So everything in this pack is what I was packing last year on the trail. This is the old stuff, and everything in here is the new. So this is the Exos 58. This is a small. It's what my torso size is, according to the good people at the big box store, and I think that's correct, because I was in a medium pack and that did not fit me well. Went back and changed it out. Had somebody else do a better job of measuring me, and turned out I was a small. That fit my pack, my back a whole lot better. And so this is in the small size. It is a 55 liter. I know it says it's a 58. Exos 58 means 58 liter, but in the medium it's a 58. I believe in the large size it's a 60, but my size it's a 55 liter. So this is the Exos 58, and this is the Z-Packs Arc Blast. It's a 55 liter. So I've got roughly the same amount of space that I had in each of them. Now, you know, I'm not going to do a comparison review right here or anything like that. There's plenty of stuff like that out there. Maybe I'll do that later. I packed this all last year and the year before that, and this year the Z-Packs is new. Z-Packs has not been on the trail yet, so I couldn't really tell you what it's like as far as how it rides on me or anything else other than just walking around. I do know that I don't have as many pockets in this, and I feel like when I pack it up that I don't have as much space, but and that may be, some of that may be due to the different ways that the manufacturers measure their pack. So don't really have a basis of comparison to make sure that I'm comparing apples to apples here. But anyway, let's go ahead and jump right into the pack. Well, since we talked about the old, we'll hit the old stuff up first. And the first thing I've got old in here, part of my sleep system, is the pillow. This has been a great pillow for me. It's the Cooper Springer pillow. I still recommend it. It gives me great sleep out on the trail. You can see it doesn't, it does take up some space, a pretty good bit of real estate in your pack, but it is very comfy. Gives me really good sleep out there. The first night I go out, I may regret not staying with that. But instead of that, in my effort to cut down on weight, I am going with Z-Packs pillow bag. So I know this looks like a commercial for Z-Packs. It's not. They don't sponsor me. I paid, or somebody paid dearly for all of this stuff. If you've ever bought anything from Z-Packs, you know that. But this is their pillowcase. So it's a dry bag, rolls up, has the snap closure at the top, just like all their dry bag stuff does. It's made out of Cuban fiber, but turn it inside out and stuff it full of your clothes or whatever you can find to go in there. then this is a fleece side to it, and now it becomes a pillow. So it's roughly, if time I get it full of clothes or whatever I could stuff in there, then it's going to be about the same size as my pillow that I did have out there. Now the only drawback to this is, what if all of my clothes are wet? Or what if it's so cold I'm putting all of my clothes on? So what I'm also going to do is, before the Cooper Springer, I had one of the inflatable Sea to Summit pillows. I'm probably going to go ahead and take that with me. It weighs literally grams, maybe a few ounces, but I'm going to take that with me, and then that way, if worse comes to worse, I can blow it up, stick it in here, and use that. But hopefully that won't be an issue. All right. So next item that we've got up here is not one of my big three, but it's my cup, my collapsible cup. So this is what I had last year, and this year I have changed that out because one of the reasons is, if I can find it, one of the reasons is because you can see that it is a much larger cup than what I had. Not a lot of weight penalty there, but I found that this was not big enough for coffee, and that's mainly what I use this for, is coffee in the mornings, or hot chocolate sometimes at night. But I would have to split the pack, the powdered coffee, in two and put it in there, and this just works better. So I don't have to make coffee twice, and I can just drink it out of that and be done with it. So not a lot of weight penalty, still fits in my stove as it should, in my cook system, the way this collapses down and fits in it. So no weight penalty there. Next up is one of my big three, or portion of my big three. So this is my sleeping pad that I did have, and it is an Outdoorsman. Yeah, just an Outdoorsman Lab is what it's called. And what happened to me here is that it's got a hole in it somewhere. One of the trips I took before I got my new one I'm going to show you, it must have got a hole in it somewhere, because when I went to test it out before I got back on the trail, tried to blow it up and it wouldn't hold air properly. And then also it could be in this valve. This is a pretty cheap valve, and this is something that I got on that one of the other through hikers recommended as just a cheap pad, and it worked for about 1.5 years, and somehow, and getting a hole in it may not be its fault. Could have picked it up somewhere in a shelter, somewhere like that, but in any case, I need a new pad. This one is not insulated at all. I think it has a R value of -5, because I was always sleeping cold with this right here, no matter if it was 60 degrees outside. So out with the old, in with the new, and the new that I'm coming in is the Big Agnes Axle Air mattress. It is a 20 by 72. I like this thing. I have slept with it. It does have an R value to it, or insulation value to it. I don't know if Big Agnes actually gives R values. Some manufacturers don't, but in any case, this is considerably warmer than that one was right there. Also the valve, I like the valve better on it, because the valve is configured in such a way that you can actually pinch it and leave it open and kind of manipulate it to where it will stay open, so that when you get ready to roll it up, the air will escape as you roll it up without you having to be at one end pushing down the valve like that valve does there. You have to actually, as you roll it up, you have to have one hand pushing on the valve to let the air out, whereas this case the valve can lodge it, so you can lodge it in there, and as you roll it up, you don't have to actually be pushing on the valve. You can be at one end and the valve at the other. So I like this. It is a whole lot warmer. So to go along with my new Big Agnes pad, I've got a Big Agnes pump sack. And this has dual use. To begin with, it is a wet bag, and I'll explain to you how I know it's a wet bag in just a minute. But the main reason I bought it was not necessarily for storage, because you can use it for storage. You can put whatever you want to in it, roll it down just like any other wet bag, and clip it together. And there you have it. The pump sack portion of it is you extend this section out right here, and you just blow into it, roll it down, and you have this valve right here that valve perfectly mates up with the valve on the big Agnes. And then you just roll it down and roll the air out of it, and as you roll the air, you're rolling it into your mattress. And so that way, at the end of the day, when I'm tired, I don't have to use lung power to do it. I can, you can imagine this is air volume in here is a whole lot bigger than what's in my lungs. So that's two purposes, for storage and for pumping up the my mattress. But also this valve right here, you can purchase a shower head for it, and this is waterproof because it will hold water, and you can use it as a shower. So you can put that shower head, it screws right into that, put that on there and use that as a camp shower. So most people on the trail don't shower when on the trail. They don't have any intention of doing that. But in any case, if you wanted to, you could, so it can serve multi-purposes there. So what else have we got that we are changing out? Okay, so the last thing that we are changing out is I've changed out and kind of simplified my water purification system. And so I'm still using the Sawyer filter, but what I've done is, rather than what I had before, was I had a gravity feed. So I had to have tubing, I had to have a dirty water bag, and I had to have tubing. Of course, you have to have your filter system here, and I had to have actually multiple pieces of tubing. I also had to have this short piece of tubing here. So I had all this right here. I'm simplified it and going with just a C-Knock, and that way I can still use for gravity feed. Fill this up. That's the Sawyer squeeze screws into that. Then I have the adapter where this screws directly into my water bottle. I can use it as a gravity feed that way, or I can actually use it as a squeeze bag like the Sawyer squeeze is actually designed to do originally, and squeeze the water from this through the filter into my water bag to speed things up. But Sawyer water filter flows pretty quick, so that's not really necessary. A lot of people don't even have a dirty water bag. They just simply have their water bottles that this fastens on top of, and they fill the water bottle up from the creek, and then they drink right from the filter, because you can put, have a cap that you can drink right out of the filter. My problem is why I like to have a dirty water bag is because I like to, a lot of times that shelters, the water source is a long ways away from where you're at, where the shelter actually is. It's usually downhill from the shelter, and it may take you a while to get there, plus you're tired and you're achy. And so what I normally do is I go down to the water source, camel up down there, fill up my water bottles, and then fill up my dirty water bag and take that back to camp. And typically this is a 2 liter, and so typically by in the morning, after I've already cooked meals from the night before and cooked my breakfast, made my coffee, I've got enough water in here that I can go ahead and fill up my water bottles, and I don't have to go back down to the water source. So that saves me another trip down in the morning. This has a very negligible amount of weight, and so basically I don't know that I'm actually reducing much weight, maybe ounces. I'm not a gram weenie like some people are. But I like this convenience, and I like not having to deal with all that tubing and all that other stuff. So that is the things that I have changed out for 2020. Most of this stuff I have not actually had out on the trail, other than the sleeping pad. I had the big Agnes axle out there on the trail one time toward the end of the year. The one thing I'll say about that, this is a regular. I wish I had gotten the large, because the regular, my elbows drop off to the side and clunk onto the shelter floor, or just the fact that, this is like, I don't know, I think it's 1.5 inches height or something like that by the time you blow it up, maybe 2 inches. And that just feels odd for my elbows and my arms, to be dropped off the side of it, as opposed to if I'd gotten a large, where they may actually stay on it, and it would feel more like a bed. But anyway, I'm looking forward to trying all that out, making sure it works. I'd like to thank Santa and Miss Ramdino, Ramdino Jr. and Ramdino for making my Christmas a great Christmas, and my hiking year hopefully is going to be a great hiking year. I'm looking forward to it. Folks, that's all I've got. Appreciate you hanging around. If you got anything out of this, give me a thumbs up. Leave a comment about any of this stuff if you got any questions, or if there's something you like or you've tried this before and it works or it doesn't work. I'd like to know that as well. Like to know what I'm up against out there. Hit that subscribe button or hit my face at the end of this video so you get my updates for my weekly trail updates for the thru hikers out there, and help me build the hiker community, help me support the thru hiker community. And you can also share this video and share this channel with other folks, and help me do my part, help you do your part to build up the hiker community and to help the thru hikers as they on their trip going to Katahdin or Springer or anywhere in between. Folks, that's all I got. As always, appreciate you, and we'll see you out here. I have a roll, can roll it down. Coda, no. Okay.